Hey y'all, in real time you find me making egg salad for my kids for lunch tomorrow. But today I'm going to talk to you about one of my biggest regrets as a mom. So stay tuned. Let me finish this up and then I'll sit down and talk to y'all. Okay, back in a second. All right, y'all, thank you so much for your patience and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Talia, and this is Beyond the Smoke and Mirrors, where I do my best to share the highlights, lowlights, and in between for the glory of God. And I spend my days dying to my flesh. Sometimes it is minute by minute, but God is kind and He is faithful. So, as I mentioned before, when I picked up the camera, I was actually making lunch for the kids, and I was like, let me talk to them, but it's better for me to sit down and talk to you. So I'm going to talk to you today about my biggest regret as a mom. I know, right? I feel like there should be some music like dun 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 playing back there. But one of the things, actually not one of the things, the biggest regret that I have as a mom is, can you guess it? I'm going to pause for like 1 second and let you put your guess down in the comments. It is introducing my children to refined sugar at such an early age. And by early age, I don't mean like 1 or 2 or anything like that. I mean, you know, by the time they were probably in preschool, and it was for all of them. You know, my oldest son, who is 19 now, he was always built like a linebacker. He came out a month early at almost 9 pounds. My daughter, who was also a month early, she was the smaller one. I think she was 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And Liam was the preemie. He was born 3 months early, or like just like 2 days shy of 3 months early or something like that, but it was 3 months early. And he was, I think, 3 pounds, 6 ounces. Was he 3 pounds? Or was he just 3 pounds? I don't remember. Danny would remember better than me. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, Gabe was the only one that was like big when he came out. The other 2 kids were not. And that's because I had gestational diabetes during all 3 pregnancies. But with the second and the third, it was well controlled. With the first, it was like playing, you know, what's the right word? Like trial and error, trying to figure it out. You know, I was on a couple different medications. Those medications caused something else to happen. I believe with the first one, I did insulin. First, I did like an oral medication, I think, and then they had to move me to insulin. Whatever the case may be, I wasn't diabetic before pregnancy. I wasn't even pre-diabetic before pregnancy each time. But after the third child, I started to struggle with my insulin resistance and stuff like that. And if you've ever had a kid, you may have experienced some of these things. And if you're watching this, you're probably a mom. No, I don't want to assume. You may be a mom, and so you may have struggled with some of these things, or you may not have and just thought, oh my gosh, what could she regret? And I'm going to like keep it a buck. I don't know that I struggled with mom guilt about like going to work and, you know, having to leave the kids for work, because I think I always reconcile that as, you know, the kids got to eat, you're a team in your family, so you're working and that's what it is. But I do think now in hindsight, I look at the fact that me having to work, which was okay, I'm not mad about having to work, but me having to work also meant that I took less stock in how we were eating and what we were eating. And I don't want to paint this picture that we ate burgers and fries all the time, and that we ate pizza all the time. But it was like the sneaky things, right? So I am a candy fiend. I actually don't want to speak that on myself because I believe that I am being delivered. And I have really made a concerted effort, you know, in this last year in particular to really manage that and, you know, keep up with my A1C, which if you're not diabetic is the number that they look at to see how well your insulin, the insulin in your body is working. And so I've been on this like upward, you know, trajectory, not upward in the number, but in my habits, you know, and I've done well. So as I'm getting better, you know, I'm looking around and I'm noticing, you know, things about my kids, and it's not new. It's just that, you know how you have on rose-colored glasses about certain things, or you're delulu or in denial. It's not like food issues haven't been something that my husband and I have discussed, you know, for years. We have talked about this very issue and what we want to do for our kids. And so we go through phases where we're really, really healthy, you know, like nothing but greens and, you know, proteins. And then I've been vegan a couple times and da da da. Just sometimes it gave extreme, right? It was like from one extreme to the other. And you know, there would be lots of starches because pasta and rice, it's inexpensive and it tastes good. Let me not just front like, you know, I'm buying pasta and rice because it's for budgetary reasons. And sometimes in our marriage that was the case, but at other times it was just easy. It was quick. It was a lot less work than what, you know, preparing whole food, very simple meals sometimes was. And in addition to like me not preparing lunches for my kids to go to school with and them consuming school lunch. And I don't know where you all stand on like the food pyramid and all these associations that put out all these things. I don't want to get too much in it because I don't want to end up with a little flag thing at the top of my video. But I don't trust much about much. And for context, I majored in, when I started out in undergrad, I started out in exercise and sports science because I wanted to be an athletic trainer. And then after that, I switched my major to health science education because I realized that, you know, that wasn't for me. I didn't want to go work in sports. I liked working in sports then, but the more I talked to coaches and trainers, they're like, this may not be life you want. So I took their advice and I went on and did something else. So I moved to the health science education side of things, and I focused on community health. And so I have an understanding, even if it's at a very basic level, and I will give myself more credit than that because unbeknownst to you all, some of this stuff I have studied ad nauseum even up until now, right? But I had all this understanding, and even with all this understanding, I still wouldn't do right. There's a scripture that says, he who knows to do right and does it not, to him it is a sin. And I cannot remember where it is, but I put it on the screen. And I know better. I've always known better. I've known better since I was, you know, an adult with kids. I've understood things about nutrition. I've learned more as time has gone on. And I've somewhat taken for granted youth, right? Or use the grace of youth as an excuse. But try having heart failure. I'm not laughing at that I have heart failure, but just at the stupidity of it all. And it'll change things. But what really changed things for us in our household was our one of our children, our daughter, being diagnosed with a neurological issue, and it made us start looking at like all the things that we're putting into our bodies, and what we were giving her and what would trigger this negative response as a symptom of what she's been diagnosed with, and all those things. So she got sick, and then I had heart failure. So in this last this has been like 18 months, I would say, or 16 months, maybe 18 months, I don't know. Things have definitely, maybe 16 months, things have definitely changed for us in the way that we do what we do. So when things really came to a head was when Noah got sick. And I felt this guilt, this regret for a long time. This is not new, but when your child gets sick, and mind you, no matter what she's diagnosed with, people that are in peak physical condition have also been diagnosed with this. So it's not anything that I did or, and I do know that. So I don't want you all to think that I'm over here being like super hard on myself and that I caused this. But I also know that by continuing to just not pay attention and live willy-nilly and eat like any kind of way, it doesn't help the problem, right? It doesn't help fix it. I'm a big proponent and believer in food healing our bodies. And I have a good primary care physician who is a doctor who believes in that food can heal your body, but also believes in prescribing that medicine. And then the choice, it's up to me as to, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. So anyway, basically, this is like seeing my oldest gain weight, seeing my youngest gain weight. It showed the impact that the way Daniel and I were living was having on our kids. Y'all are gonna laugh at this, and that's okay if you do, but years and years and years ago, I don't think we even had 3 kids at the time. I want to say we probably had 1 kid, if we even had 1 kid. And I would talk to Daniel about, me wanting to get in shape and lose weight, because after we got married, I actually gained quite a bit of weight, 100 pounds to be exact. And like I gained it quick too. Like I gained it fast, and then like it took forever for me to release, even some of that weight. So anyway, I would tell him, I was like, bro, look, we cannot be the fat family. We cannot be like the clumps. My biggest fear at that time was that we would have like a minivan and like it would dip in the back and the suspension would be broke because we were all too heavy for the van to support it. It's funny saying it, and I'm not trying to poke fun at anyone, but it really was like a deep held fear of mine. Even things like if getting on the elevator, there is a weight capacity for the elevator. I don't want our family to be the ones that, would snap the cables. You know what I'm saying? And I know this may seem like an exaggeration, but if you've never struggled with being overweight, because you can struggle with your weight and be underweight, and it's viewed a little differently in society, right? Unless you're like just really, really thin. But it's viewed a little differently in society. Actually, a lot differently, being obese versus being, underweight and you want to bulk up or gain weight. And so these were things that I didn't want my kids to have to deal with in school either. Yes, we want our kids to have thick skin. Yes, we want them to have like this tough exterior, but why have them be subjected to these things if they don't have to be? So with that being said, Um, my kids are at the age now where, like I said, 19, 14. Oh, goodness. And, oh, he's 11 now. He just turned 11 day after Christmas. And 11 where they're old enough to understand that changes have to be made. They're old enough to understand that we have to do things differently because it's going to affect our longevity and our just overall health and quality of life. I've tried to talk to them about how mommy's been sick multiple times. This last year, 2024, I think was the first year that I hadn't gone to the hospital for something in like 3 years, I think. And that was a really good feeling, like having, health that's on the rise, not health that's on the decline. And then just teaching them, that like, or explain to them that I don't want to be broken down and they have to take care of me later on in life. So now that I have given you like that whole backstory, I can't even tell you where the sugar began, but I will tell you where my guilt and regret lies is that their mama was a sugar bot, and I would call them bots. I loved candy. I mean, with a passion. I have some teeth issues to prove it. I just really enjoyed like candy, and not chocolate, not cookies, not cakes and pies. That is not what gets my goat. What I loved was Skittles, Now Laters, Airheads, Twizzlers, chewy, sticky, nasty candy that, just wasn't good for you. It wasn't good for my teeth. It wasn't good for my, just overall health. And it wouldn't be like oh, she's eating candy sometime. It's like, no, when we owned our home, we lived in the same home for 10 years. We lived close to a liquor store. It's a really nice one, very posh liquor store, a CVS and a Dollar General, and a Publix and a Walgreens. But in the beginning, while the development was being made, it was like a CVS and then a Dollar General. Listen, that is prime pickings for candy. And that's where I would go to decompress. I would go get my candy. And if mommy's having candy, this is not Danny's issue, but if mommy's having candy, then of course the babies want candy. And I regret giving in to them. I regret exposing them to these things at the rate at which I did, because I liked it so much. I was so addicted to it that basically I passed it off to my children. I feel like the difference between me and a mom who was on like a drug while the child was in utero is really no different, because even while, I'm taking this medicine, like at some point I would do better. I think Noah was my healthiest pregnancy because she was only born a month early. And I gained like no weight with her until the day that I went to the hospital. I gained like 11 pounds in 1 week, and that was like because of preeclampsia. And then with Liam, it was the same thing, blood pressure, preeclampsia type of things or whatever. But I also still very much craved, even though I had, I was pregnant, I craved these things, and I would, I wouldn't necessarily eat the best. And in eating good while you're having cravings and pregnant and emotional, all those things, it is difficult. But what I'm saying is someone who is on an illicit drug that is pregnant probably struggled with the same types of issues that I felt like I was struggling with when, I was supposed to give up these things, but instead I'm pumping my guts full of, metformin, insulin, and I'm not on insulin now, but like just, taking all this stuff to try to take care of the baby and keep my blood sugar in check so that the babies would come out okay. And with the help of medicine and sometimes a good diet, sometimes I wasn't always bad. The kids came out all right, but the behavior was still mine. And I just passed that along to them. So you all know that I'm a woman of faith and that it is really important to me that I live according to the tenets of the faith, that I trust in God's word, in his purpose for my life, in his provision for us. And one of my favorite scriptures is, to train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they're old, they will not depart from it. And that is not something that I did with this particular issue. I did not train up a child in the way that they should go. I did the exact opposite. And breaking them out of it and trying to gain the discipline now has been a challenge. Just tonight, my daughter came to me and was like, Mom, I really want something sweet. And it's about to be that time of the month for us. And, women, how that goes. It's hormonal. It's not even like you can control it. We have to, but it's like sometimes it feels uncontrollable. And already her mind is telling her, I need something sweet for this time that's coming. And my response to her is, hey, cool, that I understand that, but how about you try an apple with some almonds on it and like a teaspoon of honey drizzled on it? Noah said to me, yeah, I ain't putting no almonds on no apple. I said, okay. But trying to make those changes now after years of, just kind of us having our way. And again, this wouldn't be a 365, 52-week a year endeavor where we were just wilding out eating crazy. If you ask my cousin Brooke, she'll tell you that she cooked real healthy. She one of the healthiest people I know. And she said that to me, and I'd be like, nah, friend, sometimes I gets down. For some reason now I think Krispy Kreme donuts are nasty. Daniel, skip this part, because if I decide I want one day again, I don't want to hear your mouth. He thinks they're nasty. Y'all probably think they're nasty too. They are, unless they're high. I ain't even gonna hold you. But like, I would want like a donut or something. And if I got a donut, I would get the kids the donuts. So now it is just time. Like, there has to be a turning point for us. And this current phase that we're in didn't just start, with the new year. Like I said, in July of 2023, we started to become way more vigilant about what we were eating, how we were eating. And don't get me wrong, we still would do, fast food sometimes. We still would do the pizzas and the slushies and the fun things. I go to Disney every month, just about. And, side note, Disney food kind of nasty though. Some of those like treats, I got cute pictures, but the sweet stuff be disgusting to me. But the drinks that are full of sugar and go straight to your blood and make your blood sugar do like this, they're always tasty. And these are not even alcoholic drinks. They're just the slushies and the this and the that and all those things. And my kids are used to getting these types of things. And so when Danny and I talked to them about how things were going to be, going forward, this started in the last quarter of 2024. I started getting really serious about processed foods in particular. I won't go into it here, but just trying to have a more like simple ingredient, 1 or 2 ingredient type food. I started following a couple people on Instagram, and I take stuff from different places, kind of, try to be intuitive too. But I do know that, like, if God made it, it's probably all right. Food wise, the stuff we actually consume. I'm not talking about no exotic stuff, but like the normal stuff like meat and produce and things like that. But because we live in this crazy world, we have to contest with the pesticides and the thinking of a company that starts with M and the end of the word rhymes with toe. I'm gonna leave their name out. But like, why don't we messing with corn like that? And just like all the pesticides and all the things that we don't even think about us putting into our bodies, I love scented candles. I love them. But that stuff is not good for you. Now, don't come for me because I told the Lord, I said, hey, can I get a pass on the scented candles till I finish what I have, and I won't buy no more. And that's kind of just what me and my girls have been talking about too. Like, as things run out, not replacing them with more toxic things, like not, not taking, our health and our youth, because we're not that young anymore. I'm not anyway, for granted, and not taking my kids' health and youth for granted. There's a joke in my house. My daughter's like, yeah, because we're all getting petite this year. And fortunately, my kids are strong-willed. They're self-assured. They have, I think, sometimes overly inflated Noah self-esteem, but they got that honest, because you can't tell me and their daddy that we not cute. So there's that. And I'm glad for that for them, but I'm also glad that they realize that, all right, this is a team effort. We got to do this. And so when Noah said she wanted something sweet, she went and made her yogurt. It was plain Greek yogurt with some probably raspberries on it and a teaspoon of honey. And I love that for them. Because my kids, they'll eat, they'll eat whatever. Like, they're not too picky. They don't like zucchini and they don't like yellow squash. But other than that, they'll eat vegetables. Their palate for young people is pretty sophisticated. So I'm grateful, for that. So I just wanted to like share. I don't know that I have like real tips for overcoming in this video. I think when I started out, I maybe do. I think when I started out and I knew that I wanted to talk about this before today, that I wanted to talk about how I overcame this, but I'm still overcoming it. This is really just about my regret. It's really more like story time. Hey, vlog. Hey, let's sit down and chat. I am working through it. I think a year from now, I can come back and say, here are the tips for da 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 da. Right now, I didn't even use these notes. You feel me? Right now, we're just at a place where we're taking things one day at a time. We are definitely eating in a much better way than we were even, 2 whole years ago. All of us have lost weight, since 2023. I've maintained over 30-pound weight loss since just graduation in this past May. Gabe has dropped nearly 25 pounds, and he did that, kind of just on his own with intermittent fasting. And, not so much keeping up with what he ate. He's eating what I'm cooking, but, with controlling and not over consuming things. And then, Noah even lost a couple pounds, because we take her to the doctor every like 3 months or so. And Liam, him still growing boy. But Danny has had the most significant weight loss of everyone. And I feel like in the last like 16 months, he's lost over 80 pounds. And it's wild because that was just from small, changes. And trying to eat less processed food, trying to eat more greens, or not trying, but eating more vegetables, eating more fruit, and giving up all of the starches. So right now, there is no rice in my home. There is no, there may be some pasta here, but I don't know where it is. It might be in my hurricane rations. There are no potatoes. We have arugula, baby kale, and lettuce. I have beans. I always have beans because you never know when you're going to fall on hard times, but I haven't been cooking them. We have been doing pretty much protein and vegetables. Tonight, oh my gosh, y'all, I was today years old. Nope, yesterday years old. When I realized that you could make gyro meat at home. What? I felt like people been holding out on me. I'm gonna insert a picture of dinner. It was so good. And so cooking more at home, and leaving space for the times at Disney, not going to Disney as an excuse to just wild out, but also understanding that this is not the norm, right? And also understanding that kids are kids. Like, yo, I had meals planned for this week. They had chicken salad um at the beginning of the week, and then they had egg salad the latter part of the week. And I was just intent on not using like regular mayonnaise because it's, processed and there's seed oils in it and stuff like that. Child, I tried to make some like mayo type of thing, substitute out of Greek yogurt and olive oil. And it was good. It was a little bit of olive oil, a little Greek yogurt, and a little mayonnaise. Not mayonnaise, lemon juice. It was good, but it didn't hold up over multiple days in the chicken salad the way mayonnaise would. And my kids ate it because they're not going to be ungrateful and not eat it. But when I tasted it 2 days later, I told Danny, child, I see why Noah had a hard time with this. The flavor wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible, but it definitely wasn't what they were used to. So I've had to make my own adjustments about what I'm going to like ease into. So I bought really expensive primal avocado mayo, but I found it on sale at Fresh Market. I found the big jar for $13 and the little jar at Publix for $7. So I bought the avocado mayo. I looked at how to make mayo at home, but I got nervous because don't nobody need salmonella in these streets. Okay. So things like that, like, girl, it's processed, but use the mayonnaise. It's fine. It is what it is. Greek yogurt isn't bad. Like, I think that there has to be a balance, but that balance doesn't have to include refined sugars and starches on a regular basis. Pardon me, y'all, my cup fell. So I'm proud. That's how this video is going to end. I am proud of us. I am proud that we are making changes and taking steps to do things differently than we've been doing them. And I am excited to see what our progress is going to be a year from now. Shoot, even 3 months from now. I probably will not do these like big, I will update you all at some point, but I won't do like these. This is where we are now. This is because the girl. Anybody got time for that? But I will update you all on everybody's progress. In other news, my big boy started college today. He's majoring in graphic design. I'm really proud of him because he decided to take a break from school after graduation and kind of just find his way. And I thank God for that. And, through prayer and conversations, encouragement from friends, like real conversations about, do you really want to do this? Or are you doing this particular thing because you think this is what we want? He has landed on a major that I think is a good fit for him, and something that he can excel in. So that is a happy day. And this video is gonna be close to 40 minutes long once I edit up all the other things. Sorry, y'all, for keeping y'all this long, but hey, it's a vlog. So I love you very, very, very much. If this is something that, you have struggled with, you felt like any type of mom guilt, and you don't mind sharing, let me know in the comments what is your biggest like regret as a mom or a dad. Yeah. All right, I'm about to get out of here because I can sit here and talk to y'all forever, but I need to do other things. I want to do my nails, but wisdom tells me take your butt to bed because you got to be up early in the morning because lunches have to get made, and I'm going to cook lunch for Danny in the morning. He doesn't know that, but I'm making steak and squash for him for lunch for tomorrow. So let me take my dear to bed. But God bless you guys. Love you very, very, very much. And may God be with you all. All right. Bye.